Hello, and welcome to Grim Talks. Today I have something that I think is really special for you guys. It's a GEC collection. GEC, 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 GEC. Oh, that's really stupid. Oh, I'm sorry. Anyways, during my knife research, all anyone ever really talked about and sort of the classic spectrum of knives was GEC. They talk about the quality, they have like a Pokemon card collectability, and they're difficult to get. GEC is apparently like all the rage, and they induce a lot of other rage. Before I go into some boring admin talk, I'll spare you the suspense and say that the bottom line up front is what makes these special is that they are proto knives from GEC. Maybe I'll stack a couple up so you can look at something while I ramble. I suspect this might be kind of long, is why, sorry. I am also a millennial, and I have no real attention span, so hopefully a tiny peek will keep you sticking around. These are from TSAknives.com, again, so they're not mine. I cannot really speak to the business practices of dealers of GECs or anything like that. The most I can really say is that my experience with Aaron has been pretty cool. And that's the most I could say, because that's all there really is. My understanding from Aaron is that these GECs and their protos are available, while supplies last on the website. Or you can call her and see what she has if it's not posted. She has no shortage of buyers, but you never know. And I am trying to convince her to do something special online, like, I don't know, I'll give away or hop on Reddit and market some stuff and throw some people a cool deal. We'll see. We'll see if she ends up doing something like that. So for clarity, the deal is, I'm not paid by TSA, and this is essentially a win-win for the both of us. She gets my super minor 35 to 40 views of advertising, and I get 35 hits on YouTube. Yes, really, it's kind of bigger than that to me. I do kind of consider myself a bit of an artiste, and there is nothing better to me than bringing you guys that enjoy this kind of stuff, something you might not have seen somewhere else before. And Aaron didn't really go into details, but apparently TSA.com or TSAknives.com, they get access to these one-of-one protos from GEC in all the configurations that GEC makes. I guess keep in mind, the next thing I want to say, I mean it in a positive way. I think GEC are masters of both knife making, and their marketing strategy is really incredible, like it or not. I don't personally think their high demand is solely based on being artificially limited or constricted, and I'm just saying that up front because I heard that in some of the other YouTube videos and reading it in their comments. I think demand is way more complex and intertwined. It's more of the, I don't know, I guess the connectivity of their multiple knife designs and their little marketing strategies with their naming and numbering systems, and I guess some other things I'll mention later. I personally think GEC are artists first, and maybe they only have 300 knives worth of whatever that particular handle material is. And all the while, I do think they just want to make something more different, unique things, instead of just churning out the same, pattern of knife all the time. And they sort of use these multiple layers of their little clever strategies that play on our basically like our human psychology of what we desire, and they've nailed it, man. And then on top of that, when you buy a GEC knife, when it arrives, you get a solid product, and that's a pretty good deal. Some people like that angle, and you know, I'm kind of one of them. And it's sort of all these things together that I think are what drive demand, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. You know, again, that's in my opinion. That is probably enough background talk. I have to put on these gloves, and I have to baby these things, because that was a condition of making this video. I popped the caps on some of these earlier, just for speediness, but you do have to excuse me if I'm slow, especially when it comes to getting the little nail nicks. It's because, you know, someone is gonna buy these, and they probably don't want my dirty, greasy fingerprints all up on there. And I do think, since you guys have been such good listeners to me ramble on, I will start with my favorite. It's not like the best one, necessarily. I do think that's part of the appeal of some of these things, you know, is that, you know, some people will just be drawn to the aesthetics of one knife more than another, and GEC does make a ton of different releases. They're always sort of keeping it fresh, and when you see one, well, what happened to me was I saw one that I liked, and then I got online to Google it, and I stumbled across, you know, this, and I had missed it, and I like this one even more, and then it's like, bam, you're hooked. You're hooked on GEC, and I do kind of actually like that aspect of it. Like, collectability is fun to me, and this is my Charizard card of GEC knives. This is the TDU Bayou Trapper. It's in the Yeti Ivory, and this is the Proto. And the first time I finally got this thing open and laid eyes on it, I was blown away. And I'm not really like a classic slip joint guy. If you watch any of my other random knife videos, you know, I love big, chunky, fixed blade pry bars that are sharp and pointy, but this thing just kind of, it sings to me, man. And this is one of those little psychological dopamine hits for a buyer I was talking about. Sometimes you get a button pin, sometimes you don't, and these usually match the etching on the blade. Yeah, maybe they don't come in all the tubes, I don't know, I haven't really figured it out. This has a certificate of authenticity that is signed by Joan May. You know, some of us really like this stuff. It sort of all adds together for like the total end deal that you get when you buy something like this. And this knife in particular, like every ounce of the design of this thing, it just appeals to me at a level I do not I do not fully understand yet. It's made me it's made me slip joint curious. I love this thing. It has this, I think it's called a sow belly handle shape. It's like this exaggerated dip here. Those curves, man, it's pretty cool. These are acrylic scales. So, some people do prefer like raw materials or modern materials, but I'm kind of like meh on that type of stuff. To me, if it works, it works, and this works. This one is stamped, if I can get it, with the Proto on the back. I did grab, where is it? I did grab the regular run, because I thought it might be like kind of cool to compare them, and TSA had both of them, so that's cool. But there's just not many changes between the production run and the Proto, other than the Proto stamp. I think the writing says Yeti in Tibetan, supposedly. I'm really a sucker for this blade shape. It has this really like short spine, and it fits well to the rest of the knife, and it gives it honestly kind of an aggressive but still like classic look, like a Talon or something. like everyone talks about with it, there is some really deep texturing way down in here, way down in the scales. It's not a surface texture. It's just like a little fake ivory pattern deep down in there, way down the acrylic. It's really subtle, and it's kind of beautiful in a way. I guess, trust me if you can't see it. It's got the pointy shield, fanged shield, something like that on here, which looks great. It seems to fit. What would have been funny to me when I first saw it was if it was like a Yeti track or something, basically like a Bigfoot track, but that's probably too on the nose for the art designer. But that idea, that kind of makes me think of like their other little cheeky marketing details, like on their apples and oranges, melon knives. It's all really clever. They do this with their marketing, and the themes of their knives, it's all like perfectly lightly quirky in the right way. If you think about it, they sort of roll in these mythical aspects or the slightly cute aspects, but it's still grounded in American styling in their knives. That's sort of what I was talking about earlier. In addition to like the marketing strategy, they have all these style decisions that fold into each other while being handmade quality, man. Like these dudes over at GEC, I think they're the real deal, you know, as artists. Their knives, they tell a story, and that story sort of informs the marketing, and then the marketing informs the story. Their little pin tricks and things like that sort of amplify the overall package, and that's on the foundation of a solid handmade knife. I love it, man. You got me, GEC. I'm in your net. You can take my money. I guess my like philosophy on creating this video was that you can find reviews on all these knives here on YouTube. So I'm not really reviewing them. You know, someone out there's already told you about the back springs and the pulls and all that stuff. But I felt like what you wouldn't find a lot out there is protos. And so I wanted to just share with you guys. I thought you might like to see something unique if you're like me and you like that sort of unique aspect of it. And I guess that kind of rolls into the next one. This one you cannot buy. This one, I'm sorry, this is show and tell. This is not for sale. I have to assume this is not for sale. These other ones, you know, if you want to buy one, you can go to TSAknives or email them or whatever. But they do have some others. They had a whole bunch of other ones, actually. These are just what I like bargained for, so I can make a video. In fact, you might want to also like keep an eye on that TSAknives website, because apparently with like every release of a new GEC, the proto goes to TSAknives. That's enough shilling. I'm sorry. This though is the actual TSA stamped 1 of 100 dealer knife from GEC. I don't really know the whole story, so if I say something, you know, dumb, don't take it as written in stone, and don't go whine on a forum or to GEC or TSA. Just whine to me. You know, I'm an idiot. I've never hidden that. You can just go watch my night division slip up on the Goonin Gear video if you forget that. But back to this. Basically, what I think happened was that GEC did like limited runs for their dealers with that dealer's company branding. Why? When? I don't know. And I guess based on the stamp and what it says, you know, there's 99 others of this dude out there. I don't know if they're available. I don't know if they were sold or if they went to friends and family or whatever, but this is number 1. It's Erin's, basically. And she let me show you guys. Yeah, no fancy review. I'm just sharing because I love this kind of stuff. Like, this to me is special. It's special to its owner. This is loved, and that's exactly like that heartstring that GEC, they just pluck it like masters. It's grandpa's knife, but it's not. I mean, they're brilliant, absolutely freaking brilliant. Everyone is sort of getting what they want out of buying one of these, if you can buy it. I won't really stick on this one that long. Maybe I'll continue to gently stack this stuff up as we go through them, but I'll give you one last peek at it. Then what else have I got? I have what I think is like the spiritual twin to the Yeti. It's the Ace Proto. The aces and eights, the dead hand. I call it sort of the spiritual twin to the Yeti because it's kind of the inverse of the Yeti with its own like intertwined design themes. If I can get it out of here. By that I mean that, you know, you could just look at it and be like, oh, that's a knife, cool, and you could just sort of walk away. Or you can take a look at this thing and see the story that it's essentially telling you, and that's sort of like the seed that gets people like me over the hill from, you know, just being sort of interested in it into loving it as we learn more about it. And for example, if I can get it, oh, your pool, man, what is with your pattern number? Why is it 888222? What is a pattern number? You know, what does aces and eights mean? Like, if you're like me and you don't know and you get on Google, you learn and you sort of just appreciate the knife more for its theme, like the story it's trying to tell you. Maybe, hopefully you like that stuff like I do. GEC's artist design philosophy is like phenomenal in that aspect. And it sort of extends to how they do their marketing with like sneak peeks and new releases and stuff like that. You know, I won't spoil it for you, but it's strange how like it only rarely gets mentioned in other videos I've watched about the knives. Like, to me, Googling and learning what they're up to next is like half of the fun. And it's part of the reason for like their enormous success, I think. You know, some of you are just gonna hate this type of thing, and that's fine. I'm sorry I wasted your time. The rest of us will be over here nerding out about something we really like. What else have I got? I've got Bloodwood prototype, red-lidded micarta proto. There's some other stuff here, but you know, I think that this is getting really long. So I'll just sort of cast this video out and see if you guys are as into my style of not really a review, but more like, I guess I kind of do a dissection of the knives, and I like their little clever themes and the way GEC, you know, markets them. So I'll wrap this one up, and you can leave a comment if you want to see some of the other stuff I had, or if you want me to try to get my hands on some other cool proto from TSA. But honestly, there's one last thing. I really am genuinely sorry if you watch this whole long video bitterly because you can't get your hands on your dream GEC. You know, as a guy who right now I have these things sitting in front of me right now, and so that statement might feel a little hollow, but these aren't mine, and I really do actually mean it. Like, maybe you got burned by a dealer, or you're just not getting that one ultra rare Pokemon card knife you want, but I do think that there is a sort of silver lining. You know, if it seems like I've been really lenient on GEC with their supply stuff, it's because I don't actually believe that it's purposeful from them. And I also don't think desire is like inherently a bad thing. You know, if I'm being completely honest, GEC produces a ton of knives that are simply not appealing to me aesthetically, or are just not my type of knife I prefer. But I can appreciate and respect their artistic approach of creating knives for people who do like these style of knives. This is a perfect example. And for the people who do love GEC's styling, I think that is, you know, as people, as humans, you know, desire is just one of our most favorite things to fulfill. It's like what makes that it's what makes that first bite of an apple pie so good after like the labor of making it and the time it takes to bake it. And oh God, I know quotes are cheesy, but in victory you deserve champagne, in defeat you need it. You know, truly, like, desire gives us a pointed purpose, even if it's so shortly lived or the wait is served bitterly. It's not a bad thing to want something so long as it doesn't hurt yourself or someone else. And with GEC, you sort of get that feeling and the reward of a really well-crafted knife. And yes, they do play up to our totally human love of the little things like buttons. GEC really is like a textbook example of enjoying both the journey and the destination. You know, maybe your Charizard card knife it's just a Google search away, or you know, a lucky Reddit post. I do hope this video experiment works out and I get to work more with TSAknives and with more protos, because they are awesome. And I guess I am now a quasi knife channel. Oh God. Oh well. Yeah. Thank you for listening to me. I'll see you guys next time.